Hey, baby. You having a good day? Playing with your new toy? Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul. And today, very exciting day. It's the first hint of spring. I went into the basement to water my dormant, non-really cold hardy trees. And I noticed that the Trident maples were popping out of dormancy and they were budding out. So I quickly rushed upstairs, contacted my broski, Ian, at a back garden bonsai, and he saved the day. Said, let's get him outside, and agreed that a tarped little makeshift ghetto greenhouse for my tridents and black locust and American sycamore. They're all coming out. So they're all going to be in Jared Paul's Ghetto Greenhouse here at Jarhead Bonsai. So here are the trees, and here's the start of the Ghetto Greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is get them stacked in as closely as I can in against the house here. Okay, and I'm going to leave it untarped for some precipitation if and when and during the day, and then at night I'm going to do some sort of tarping system to keep them nice and warm, because even though it is 60 degrees Fahrenheit today, it is about 21 degrees Fahrenheit forecast within a week, one of the nights. So that's a big drop, but if they're budding out already, you just got to go for it. You want to see what I'm talking about? Here we go. One of my favorite things in the world, a Trident maple coming out with this nice new tender green growth here. There we go. That's a nice focus. It was an amazing thing to see down there and a terrifying thing to see, because just when you think, oh my gosh, when can spring come so I'll have stuff to do, then you get smacked in the face with it about a week or two before you're expecting it. So, all right, without further ado, that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Okay, so it actually worked out because I had cut an old, really terrible plastic greenhouse that, like, the plastic railings broke in the wind the first week I had it. I had cut that tarp into threes for another project, and now I got to reuse it. So it actually worked out perfectly because it's a little more insulated and textured, and you see it offers a little bit of that shade. Because it's a grid of green on top of there. There might be another reason for it. I can't think of it. Maybe it's some sort of thermal thing. But, so I've got the main big piece underneath, and then I have these two little door-like that I could just swing down at night. And if necessary, on those 20-degree nights, the couple that we may have, and it's like mid to high 20s, so just because the air is really that cold doesn't mean the pots and the roots will get that cold. So I huddled them all together, and what I'll do on those nights is I'll probably put a sheet around the base of everything to keep the wind and everything out of there, and then a cloth sheet, and then I'll put these down, obviously, and hope for the best. So why don't we grab a seat on the deck there, and I'll show you some of the trees, and they're looking pretty cool. I'm excited. All right, so it started as a minor Trident maple emergency. It turned into an opportunity to get some other trees out here. So in the back, I have huddled closest to the house, the smaller pots, because I figured they're most susceptible to really cold nights, and the house will keep them naturally warmer, huddled up. So those are a lot of the Trident maples. There's 15, maybe 16 Trident maples in total. And then I have my two strawberry pots. This was an experiment last year. I put, like, this is an oak, and then I put a ton of different seedlings. They're all mixed and matched. Some maples, some over here I have some maples as well. And then these are flowering Rose of Sharon. In that strawberry pot. So some of them didn't make it, and they're the empty ones. So I'll just try again this year. What I did was any of the volunteers that jumped into my existing plantings, I just removed them and popped them into these as an experiment. I figured like somebody with an apartment with a small patio or something like that would be able to have, say, 10 to 12 trees in one vertical pot in the corner of the patio. And that's, maybe a smart way to be able to have more trees with less surface space taken up by pots. Let's get in here. We've got, let's see, that Trident maple is looking nice right there. Lots of nice growth coming off of it. Thick. Got the tallest one here. Plans for planting that in the yard this year. That was a little taller than my setup of the table on top of table over bench over chairs. So I just put it towards the edge, and it's not going to be too bad. That'll be all right. That one I haven't pruned at all. A lot of these I have. So I got 25 of these Trident maples bare rooted off of eBay almost 4 years ago. And this guy Bonsai Ken, and I think it was $75 for 25 of them, and they were maybe a year old bare rooted seedlings. And I tried to bonsai everything right away, put them in small pots, as you see. These are actually the repotted pots, but small pots. And I was just going for bonsai right away. If I had to do it again, I would have done a raised tree bed outdoors. And that spring, I would have planted them in a raised tree bed, probably 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep of soil and compost, peat moss, things of that nature, and just let them grow and thicken that way. So mine are really slow growing. You see here. I mean, for a 4th year, going into a 4th growing season, that's a really small trunk, right? And they did decent with ramification, but what has really happened with them, I let them bud out indoors around February each year since I've had them, from what Bonsai Ken said would help increase ramification in the early years. And then that growth, all of those leaves from indoors going outdoors, it always burns up, and the new leaves never come in right. So you have like some burnt, some not, they haven't looked good the past couple growing seasons. So this year, hey Stella, you're okay, baby. So, all right, so coincidentally, the same time Stella got hungry, my phone died. So here we are, charged up again. So if you don't have Trident maples, they're a very popular tree in bonsai and just in general because they're friggin' awesome. Their leaves look like tridents. They have a great range of color. You see some of the older leaves that haven't fallen off yet. That's what you end up with. And like I showed you before, those bright greens are what you start with. You get some dark green. I mean, it's just an awesome tree. So, along with, this is, I don't know, it's one that grew up in my yard. I want to say maybe a hickory. Got that potted up. Some Rose of Sharon. I think we've gone over all of them. Oh, up top, my black locust. If you could see those nice spiky devils. There's gnarly trunks. I'm going to have to address that forest this year. They are awesome. So, anyways, thanks for joining me for this episode of the Ghetto Greenhouse. I'm Jared Paul. That's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai, y'all. Hope you are as excited for spring as I am. We're almost through the winter, y'all. All right, y'all. So from my family to yours, cheers.